Hary Welby Cooke, the master licensee of Action Coach South Africa. Hary is renowned for his no-nonsense approach and will be sharing invaluable insights on breaking through the barriers with his talk, Enough of the BS. His journey in bringing Action Coach to South Africa is nothing short of inspiring.
Thank you very much. So the honor and privilege is all mine because I get to fly in and do whatever the hell I want. And if you don't like it, I just fly out. And I had a client of ours in KZN, one of these talks that I did, and I didn't come back for about a year. And when I came back and she said, in her whiffle in the morning, she said, what I feel like expressing, and she pointed at me and she said, I hate you. I said, okay, I don't care if people hate me, it doesn't matter to me. She said, because you put me under pressure that day and you made me look like a fool, and I'll never forgive you. I said, okay. She said, but because you made me look like a fool, I went and did what I committed to doing, and I grew my business by 400%. I said, well, please tell your friends to come and hate me some more, because if that's the result of that's fine. So if at the end of the session you hate me, that's cool. I don't care. What's more important that you take the notes that you need, because somewhere will be something that will hopefully shift you and move you, because that's what we're here for. That's why it's called Growth Club. It's for you to grow, for you to develop, for you to take something that you can add into your business. And it doesn't have to be for the next 100 years, for the next 3 months, because you're going to come back. And we're going to deal with maybe some of the challenges that we spoke about this morning in the talk. So what does BS stand for? Sure, how rude. Oh, business support, it could stand for business support. Be strong, could stand for be strong. It's actually the abbreviation for the Bahamas, BS, Bahamas, okay? It could have been bill of sale, could have been balance sheet, it could have been anything, yet most of you thought it's bullshit. Sis on you, okay? But you're right. This talk is about enough of the bullshit. And I'm going to share with you as a start some of the bullshit that you not only hear amongst your friends and family, and maybe even your staff, but some of the things you say to yourself. So in this bullshit, we have this thing called time. Who's struggling with time? There was one person this morning admitted, who's struggling with time? Time's an issue. Normally not enough of it, right? Okay, so let's ponder a little bit. And as business owners, we do tend to be a little bipolar. In fact, we're kind of borderline schizophrenic. So we have these multiple personalities. So I'm going to show you how the same thing is bipolar. So let's start with one. And I'd like you to think of, in your opinion, who has the perfect life? Somebody you know or know of, and you look at them from afar, and yes, maybe it's not as perfect as you think it is, but when you look at them, you go, wow, when I'm big, I want to have a life like that. So for me, it's Richard Branson. I think, wow, some of you, it might be your spouse, your uncle, a friend. Who's the person that you think has got the perfect life? And I'd like you to write down their name. As you see it, who's that person that has the perfect life? So who wrote down a name? Who's got one already? What was the name of the person? What was yours?
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump. David Attenborough. So we've got somebody we're thinking has a perfect life. You there? Wonderful. So we know of somebody who's got the perfect life, right? Magic question. How many hours in their day? 24. How many hours in your day again? 24. Okay? So that's the one side of the BS. I haven't got enough time. Yet the perfect person I can think of, they've also only got the same amount of time. But let's go to the other side of our personality and go, one, we don't think we've got enough time. The other, especially as business owners, staff members no different, we think, I've got lots of time. I've got lots of time. I'll get to sorting out my will, my life insurance, my investments, putting the money back into my pension that I used to start the business, eventually paying off that credit card for the 13th time. And then one day I'll sell my business and then I'll live happily ever after. Because I've got enough time, right? So how many of you know somebody who in the last 4 or 5 years is sadly not with us anymore because they ran out of time? And they didn't run out of time after they got the letter from the Queen or now the King for turning 100. They ran out of time earlier than that. So we are bipolar in thinking, I haven't got the time, yet the perfect people in the world have got 24 hours. Shit, me too. And I think I've got more than enough time, yet people expire without having done what they planned to do. So I'd like to say, bullshit on not having enough time. Also bullshit on thinking you've got enough time to sort it out. Right, what other BS do we tell ourselves? One around money. I can do a whole weekend just on the BS we have around money. And one of the things we say, especially as we get older, is we say things like, oh, but Hary, it's not just about the money. You ever said that before? Oh, it's not just about the money, right? Except until there isn't any. And then all of a sudden it's only about the money. So let's just do a quick sense check of about the money. Right. So the business owners in the room in particular, I'd like you to write down what it is that you believe you are worth from a salary perspective if you went back to work for somebody else. So this business thing is too tough. I'm not going to do this anymore. Thanks, Bert. Thanks, Peter. I'm out of here. I've sold my business. I'm going back to getting a job. What does somebody need to pay you? What are you worth every month? And write down what you believe that to be. For those of you that are employed, don't think of what your current salary is. Think of realistically, what could I get in the job market? What am I worth? And it might be more or the same or less than you're currently getting. Doesn't matter. Write down what you believe you're worth in the job market. This is where you shouldn't be doing market research, otherwise known in primary school as copying. You should actually be focusing on your own worth and writing it down. Some of you might look at your neighbor and go, sure, but I need to up my worth. But anyway, so everybody got an amount written down. Everybody got amount? Nobody got amount? Everybody? Yes, yes. This is yes. This is no, just in case. Okay. Let's see. Raise your hands if you got an amount written down. Some of your hands aren't working, but okay, cool. So you've written something down. Now, underneath that, write down what you pay yourself, or if you're working for somebody else, what they're paying you every single month. And not drips and drabs. One month I take a bit, sometimes I take less, sometimes I get a half, and then I get the other half. No. What are you paying yourself regularly every single month? And if you have the benefit of being paid regularly every month, what are they paying you? So you have one amount, what you believe you're worth when working for somebody else, and the amount underneath that, what you're currently paying yourself. Good. So this is a participation session, so I'd like everybody to stand. Everybody stand. If your second amount, so the one that you're currently getting every month, or the one that you are paying yourself every month, is more than what you believe you're worth in the job market, please sit down. So if your second amount was the highest amount, sit down. Okay, so look around the room and meet your fellow moron. Because amazingly, okay, you can have a seat, thank you. Amazingly, it's not about the money. But you can go and work for somebody else for more of it. That for me is being a moron. Because you're not paying yourself a market-related salary. Because most of you, who doesn't have to go to work at all anymore? You just collect the money from your staff. Nobody. Okay? So you still have to go there and do the work. Therefore, I need to get paid to do the work. At least the same of what somebody else would pay me. That's market-related salary. Then I also need to get a return on my investment. On my blood, sweat, tears, stomach ulcers, 3 divorces, 4 heart attacks, lots of stress, Bald heads all around the room. Grey hairs. I have to get both as a business owner. I have to get a market-related salary because I'm doing the bloody work. And I've taken the risk. I'm a business owner. I'm a shareholder. I should be getting a return. We're a donor. I was struggling to just pay other people's salaries. That's why I said this is maybe not the motivation session. This is the reality check. So it is always about the money. Not because we love the money, not because we are greedy, because I'm doing the work and I've taken the risk and I need to be remunerated. So many business owners, of course none of you would relate to this, were so proud during COVID to have kept their staff employed and paid salaries. Who was in that boat? Very proud. I kept my staff employed, I paid their salaries. I paid myself boggerol. I lived off my credit card. I took on additional debt, which I still haven't put back 4 years later. What did Peter do? But I'm the hero. No, you're the moron. Nothing wrong with keeping your staff employed and pulling through that, because that's the right thing to do as a leader. But where's the putting back into the leader's coffers that was not put in the first place? Okay, so it is about the money. What other BS do we tell ourselves? And it came out this morning. You guys obviously read my mind. Oh, but Hary, can't get good staff. Can't get good staff. And you guess what? It was said this morning. When you train them, they leave. Other people buy them. Can you believe it? That actually happens. Yet every single one of you in the room before worked for somebody else. They trained you, and guess what you did? Bugger off. Fancy that. So let's just do a reality check. Now this is bad, but it gets worse. This was 2 years ago. The 5 most unemployed societies in the world. Djibouti. Gaza, before they started bombing it to shit. Swaziland. And the Congo, where not even the Congolese want to live. We are the worst. And yesterday, what was the new figure that came out? 32.1%. 59% of eligible youth under the age of 25, 59% do not have a job. So anybody got a child that's about to leave school or thinking of leaving school hopefully one day soon? A few of you? Can you imagine them not having a job ever? But at 25, they've still never worked. So that sounds great, and we hear the challenges, but okay, let's think about it. There are 7.9 million unemployed people. 7.9 million. How many have you interviewed? 3 or 4? Okay, you've done well. How many have you interviewed on the side of the room? About 400? Maybe 500? Sure, we're feeling good, eh? 500 out of 7.9 million. But yeah, you can't get good talent. They don't exist.
Just one person interviewing 7.1 million would be a full-time career.
But you might have to only do 1,000 and then you would have found the gem. So here's the thing. We are trying to, off one little piece of paper and an hour-long interview, make a multi-million rand decision. Jy's mal in jou kop. How are you going to get that right? You need to chat to your coaches and do a much better recruitment process so that the poepoels don't end up working for you. And guess what? You've become the poepoel, that's why they leave. Because why do people not stay employed with you?
Pay peanuts.
You pay them peanuts. They only leave because they're getting a salary higher somewhere else. Has anybody ever left you for a demotion? And they've said, listen here, I think you're a poepoel. I'm going to go work for your competitor for half the price. Does that happen? So it's difficult in an entrepreneurial environment because we don't have this Murva tower for people to climb. People want growth opportunities. We have to create it for them. And if they don't get it, they leave. But then we say, oh, but Hary, you don't understand. Especially the younger generation today. They don't want to work. They're lazy. They don't do what they're supposed to. We've said these things, right? There's not that many young people in the room we can say. The next generation is cock. There's no hope for us. But let's check about that. So here's a beautiful little child doing something that's pretty important, right? Brushing your teeth. So who in the room has got children? Okay, a few of you, great. Anybody been a children before? Wonderful. So you can all relate. How many times do you have to tell your children to brush their teeth? Every day? Multiple times a day? When they learn to talk, you realize they bullshit you? Yeah, brush my teeth. And eventually you say, come here, let me smell. You didn't. Or they say, brush your teeth, they take a corner and they disappear. So 5, 6 times a day. And when they're teenagers, do you have to stop telling them? Okay, so let me just understand this logic. Your own DNA, unless it was the postman, and we don't even have postmen coming home anymore, so it can't be the postman's child. Okay? Your own DNA, they live in your house. They live in your house. You tell them tens of thousands of times in their life to brush their teeth. Tens of thousands of times. They go to the dentist encourages the importance of oral hygiene. At school, they learn about it. And they still don't do it. And you think you take a poople from the road, put them in your business, tell them once, and they're just going to do it. Your own DNA don't brush their teeth, people. If your staff are not doing what they're supposed to do, it is your fault, not their fault. And if they are the problem, then get rid of the problem. Oh, but Hary, you know, in South Africa today, it's so difficult to do. Really? Who's ever put a staff member under pressure and then they don't like the pressure and they bugger off? It's the easiest way to get people to leave. Ask them to do their job. And then force them with pressure to deliver. They don't like it, they leave. And guess what? Some of them stay. How cool is that? And Richard Branson has the best quote on that. He says, you know, if you train people, they'll leave. So what's the alternative? You don't train them and they stay. Your choice. So I call BS on this thing about can't get good team. 7.9 million unemployed people. Somewhere is somebody that's right for you. And maybe you need to get better at extracting the value in your team. That's why you're here to work on your business, because you're so deep in the trenches, you don't have the time to develop a good team. Well, that's why they're cock. It's pretty simple. Because your own children are cock. My children are the most awesome kids on the planet, and at stages I've hated them and wanted to headbutt them. And they're my own children. It's stages we go through. Your kids are cute. And then they start asking why 400 times a day. Not so cute. Then they go through a cute phase. Then they get older and don't want to do their homework and they start lying. And you go, oh my word, what's this alien? And then they become a teenager. Worst phase of anybody's life. Living with a teenager, especially a teenage daughter, is like the worst jail there is. And just when you're ready to kill them, they become these beautiful, wonderful young ladies and then go on into the big bad world out there. Your staff do the same thing. Okay, so then we had this little virus that kind of went around the world. And oh, but Hary, you know, COVID was really, really bad and it did all these really, really bad things. And you know, we know all of that. When was that again? 4 years ago. Yeah, but Hary, you know, we were still in a little bit of lockdown and uncertainty, and Cyril would say on a Sunday with immediate effect, I can't have a dop, and you know, that was really bad. Yeah, even that was 2 years ago when that shit stopped. So you have to get on it and understand that all COVID did was do a scan on the problems we already had. I had somebody very dear to me pass away. On his death certificates says COVID pneumonia. Or he was fat, unhealthy, had multiple heart attacks, had a few cancer scares, and was pre-diabetic and then died. He would have died from anything. COVID did a scan on society and showed its flaws, and yet we've gone all back to normal. We realized at COVID you need a little bit of a buffer. You need more money stored away. You need to kind of herd all your nuts for the winter. Not your own nuts, the nuts, money nuts. And then we go out of COVID and we don't do it again. So even that is BS on COVID. But Hary, you don't understand. The South African market, it's so tough. We're just getting poorer in dollar terms. Do you spend anything in dollars? Do you live in dollars? Because 99.9% of South Africans don't. They're so worried about losing dollars, they don't even have rands. What are you talking about? But Hary, my business is so dependent on the diesel. And the diesel price is going all over the show. Yes, only in South Africa does the diesel price go up. Nowhere else in the world. Yeah, but Transnet are doing this. And the government is doing that. And if you look outside in the parking lot, there's a few multi-million rand vehicles. And we have to buy multi-million rand vehicles because the roads are so cock. So now we just go through the pothole with style. And there was Peter in the Kruger. 40 degrees was so bad. Yeah, in your air-conditioned car. What are you talking about? And then we heard this morning, but Bert mentioned that, but maybe recession, all the rest of it. The UK is in official recession. Dear old Rishi Sunak came in and said, first thing we're going to do is prioritize economic growth. Fantastic. First 6 months, in your moor, 2 quarters of negative growth, recession. So what are we talking about, guys? We are focusing on the wrong things. Both those people are on the same roller coaster. Which do you want to be? I don't care which one you want to be. You get to choose. She doesn't look like she's having a lot of fun. If you want to be that person, then be that person. I'd encourage you to rather be the other person. So in this roller coaster ride of South Africa, there are still multimillionaires. There are still people with opportunity. There are still people making money. There are still people enjoying the sunshine, drinking cheap wine, having great food, and enjoying things that people don't get access to anywhere in the world. They have to fly here to get access to it. But Hary, you see, it's elections this year, so let's just wait and see. So everybody was waiting for the election date. Did you know it came out yesterday? Wonderful. So 29th of May. Now we at least know when our cock is booked. Okay? So now we know it's the 29th of May. So let's do nothing until then because we're going to wait and see. And I hear let's just wait and see. Well, what do you think is going to happen? We can go into a whole political debate. It's simple. Die grootste fok-op ever. Because the ANC will lose support. The EFF and their red little overalls will get more support. New MK and Zuma, can't he just die? Sorry, will get more support. So now we will have coalition governments everywhere, including at national level. Do you see what happens in Ukuruleni and Tshwane and City of Joburg? We're going to be throwing KFC at each other instead of working on fixing what needs to be fixed. It's going to be worse. But let's just wait and see. Let's just wait and see, because maybe Aladdin will fly in and give us our 3 wishes. Bullshit, guys. You have to build your business irrespective of the economy it works in. Or get rid of it. Move to Australia. It's cool to scrub your own toilets, pay 1,000 rand for a steak and not be able to drink a dop. It's cool. Go. I was a good dad. Bought my daughter, who's in Fort Lauderdale, flowers for Valentine's Day. So you would think in the hierarchy of women, your wife should be at the top and your daughter second. Your wife's more important apparently. If you've been married long enough, you realize not always, but most of the time. So I bought my wife flowers for Valentine's Day. Pat on the back, well done me. 700 rand for 12 roses, which is more expensive as opposed to the week before Valentine's Day, because they just rip the people for Valentine's Day. But 700 rand, not bad. So now I'm trying to do the same for my daughter. $79 for the same 12 roses. Sure. Okay, well, it's her first year away and we haven't seen her and, we are saving lots of other money. I'm doing all the justification in my head. Check out, plus taxes. Oh, court forgot the Americans only put it in at the end. Plus delivery. Oh, shit. And I think it was 13 miles to deliver it. $25 just for delivery. So 2,183 Rand for the same 12 roses. So I'm not paying flowers in dollars. I'm paying most of the flowers in rands. So until you've got an overflow of rands, don't stop making rands. So BS on this roller coaster because you choose where you want to be. So who would like to know some success secrets? That'd be good, right? We said it at the back there. I think Carl said it. Oh, that magical, that silver bullet one marketing thing. I can just have that magic secret. Good. So let's check what a success secret may be.
I have a question about passive income, and
Okay.
I want to know what kind of trends do you see?
When you say passive income, do you mean what do you mean?
I mean, not having to work all day long. I want to be on a beach in Mexico instead of being on an office in Sweden in cold November.
Are you being serious right now?
Yes, I'm
Okay.
serious.
The quickest way to not be on a beach in Mexico is to think that passive income exists. I think the reason so many scumbuckets are making so much money is because you're buying stupid fucking courses over and over, thinking there's some fucking magic formula for passive income. Passive income looks like this. You take money that you can afford to go to zero, and you put them into two places that have historically created passive income. Public markets, that you don't care if it goes up and down and you just wait to the end, or real estate, and you hope that your real estate area doesn't get crushed. Everything else almost doesn't exist.
So some of you have already done that transition and realized it's shit, still a shit job. Yeah, because you're still not doing the piece in the evening. You're still having the 17 beers at the World Cup. In saying, well, besides what I have to do every day, how do I grow this? How do I scale this? How do I get this to make excess money so that I can put it into things that will be passive? And it's my favorite the last 20 years, this notion of passive income. It exists, yes. Property and shares. Make money, put it into that. And you have to have a lot of that, otherwise you're fixing geysers and blocked toilets with your tenants and worrying about your Bitcoin going up and down, up and down, up and down. Buying at the highest, selling at the lowest. Because you're an amateur. Make the excess and give it to the professionals. Now this extract comes from Elon Musk's biography. This is what his wife said. And if you know anything about Elon Musk, who we like to claim as a South African, you realize that he works his heart off. And once you do the work up front, and not just working hard on the same thing, because many of us have worked hard on the same thing in our businesses for many years, on what Bert and Peter are talking about, on the working on your business stuff. You work hard at that stuff, then it gets easier. It doesn't get easy. It gets easier. Because remember those children. So I have 3 wonderful things, except sometimes less wonderful. They will all go through stages much like your business will. Now, when you have little babies, there are lots of problems, small problems all day, every day. They poop, they scream, they puke, they cry, non-stop. They catch any little disease floating around, and virus and whatever. So there's lots of little problems all day, every day. Same as when you start your business. Lots of little problems all day, every day. When they're teenagers, the problems aren't every day. The little things tend to go away, but now they're bigger problems. Drugs, suicide, teenage pregnancy. What am I going to do with my life? Much bigger problems, much bigger issues to deal with, but not as frequently. That's the problems you earn to have the right to as your business grows. They never, ever, ever go away. But our fantasy is that it should. So this year was an interesting one because it's leap year. So you all got a bonus day. Next week, Wednesday, whenever it is the bonus day for the year. So has the bonus day helped you make up for all the lack of money for the rest of the year? Are you now miraculously going to get to the end of the year and be over budget? Who's going to be over budget on the 29th of February for this year? Anybody? Nobody. How? Even with the extra bonus day? Nobody over budget. Good. Oh, but that's only in the next year. But if you're paying attention, they gave one away in December for stupid rugby winning, these bloody holidays.
It's going to be less under budget.
You're just going to be less under budget. Okay, so that day has given you less under budget. Okay, so here's the important thing. The reality is enough of the BS. Enough of the BS that you keep telling yourself to hold you back. Because that's all it does. Time, money, team, government, COVID, issues. It's just excuses that hold us back. And sadly, I'm hoping this is mud. But it has felt a little bit like this the last few years. It's just been coming at all angles. And we've just been collecting it. So for today, the most important is we're going to call a timeout. Enough of this BS now. Enough. What is in the past is in the past. I can do absolutely nothing about it. And that's why it's good that you're here a little bit before the start of the new financial year. Who doesn't have their financial year starting on the 1st of March? You have a different financial year. Most of you, new financial year starts 1st of March, which is wonderful. Because you get to take the next exit and go, the year's left behind, I'm now starting afresh. Because the same thing happens in December. I love South Africans, so cool. We can't wait for the 15th of December. Yes, we have to pay a little bit earlier and bonuses and stuff like that, but oh my word, I can just throw away this year. And last year we wanted to throw the year away in September already. We were overwhelmed, it was desperation, it was cock. And then some of us, if we're privileged enough, we get in our cars, we go to the sea or we go to the bush, and I don't know what happens with the fresh air because we've got such a lot of stress over Christmas. You've got your in-laws visiting. My word, there's nothing worse than in-laws for Christmas. You've got presents. You got all this stuff, you eat too much, you drink too much, and miraculously, when we start working in January, whenever that is, some nuclear fusion has happened and we just feel better. Wow, I've got energy for the same shit this year. I don't know what happens in those 3 weeks generally, but we feel better. Good. So we must do that for our business. We must leave the frustration of last year behind us, like we do in December of last year. We left 2023 behind us so that we can move into a better 2025 financial year. So I'd like us all as a group to let out your frustration. If you need to shout, scream, bang on the table, whatever you need to do, let's do it. Let's leave it behind on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. That was a nice warm-up. Pretty piss poor. Obviously, we are a little reserved. Don't worry, everybody around you, they also had a cock here. So you can scream, bash, go mad. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh, you see. Much better the second time round. And if we keep doing it, training, like in the TED video, we get better at something. Good. So we're going to hit the reset button. That's why you're here. And everything you do post now is after the reset button. You hit it, and the past is the past. So what do we need to do? We need to look forward to the 28th of February, 2025. That's what we're doing here today. It's not just, shit, I need to get through the end of the week or end of the day. No, I want to look further. Because here is still problems. And leading up to the election is going to be chaos. The media are going to depress the hell out of us. Politicians are going to say stupid shit that's going to make us angry. Doesn't matter. It makes no difference to us. Because no matter what the politicians do, who's putting more money into your bank account tomorrow? Nobody. No matter who's in charge. No matter what color t-shirts they give out, no matter what their promises are, Nobody's putting more money into a bank account. The only thing that can happen is they take more money out of your bank account. So I still have to focus on putting more money back into my bank account. So I want to look at the 28th of February, 2025. Oh, that starts to look better. I can dream again. I can think again. I can plan differently because I don't want to have the same. So I'm going to reset, and then through my planning, I'm going to realign. And from tomorrow morning, first we'll have some dop today. We'll, get the creative juices flowing with a bit of beer and wine. And then from tomorrow, I restart. And all I have to do is a 90-day sprint. Because in another 3 months, you'll be back in this room or maybe the one down the road or to do it again. So it's like motivation. We say, oh, but staff are so difficult. They need to be motivated all the time. And my favorite quote on that comes from Zig Ziglar. He says, motivation is like bathing. It's recommended daily. Nobody is motivated for the year. Nobody's motivated for the 6 months. But if I have a reset and a realign and a restart, I can do that for 90 days and stay on track and take people with and then rinse and repeat all over again. So we should know this guy. This made him famous. Ended up being a TED Talk too. Who is he? Simon Sinek. What was his talk about? Start with why. Good. Wrote a great book, Start with Why. And then a workbook was Find Your Why. Brilliant. But I'm calling BS even on Simon Sinek because we've got so confused with, why? What's my why? I'm confused. My bigger purpose. Cuck, man, you've just given up on your bigger purpose. You wouldn't be where you are today if you didn't have that dream in the first place. So I'd rather say, why not? Why not you? Why not your business? Why not now? Why not with your current team? Why not in South Africa? Because we're so busy asking why, we're not actually asking why not. Because why can't I do this? And if you thought, when she was preparing for that swim, 110 miles, anybody ever swum a mile? You just did the mid-mile. It's a great idea. You stand here in the dam, and you go, it's only from here to there. And then you swim your moor off. And you get halfway, and you look back, and you go, sure, I've done so much. And you turn around, you look forward, it hasn't looked like you moved. That's 1 mile. So put 110 of those together, shame. That's a lot. But I need to get started. So she didn't ask why me. She said, why not me? Why not now? Why not at 64? After 4 failed attempts, why not? And I think we need to spend a little bit more time asking that. So Brad Sugar is the founder of the business. That's what he looks like, a little bit older now than that photo. Here is probably the biggest thing holding us back. It's what we say to ourselves when we buy ourselves, about ourselves, that matters most. And yes, we are allowing other people to cloud what we're saying to ourselves, but I can choose to accept what they're saying or discard what they're saying. But it's what I say to myself that holds me back. And that's what you need to be wary of.
Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God, and you playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We were all meant to shine, as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God is within us. It is not just in some of us, it is in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others.
So soft, but that comes from a poem by Marianne Williamson. Who am I to be brilliant? And Nelson Mandela is often misquoted as having said it at his inauguration. He didn't say it. But it says, who am I to be brilliant? And she goes on to say, but who am I not to be brilliant? And this is the thing with business that we don't get. When you grow, everybody benefits. Everybody. Because you employ more people. You pay more tax. You procure more services. You have time and money to give to things that you're passionate about. Charities benefit. The community benefits. Your family benefits. Your in-laws benefit. Your parents benefit. Everybody benefits when you grow. But what happens when you don't? And I unfortunately started the year with going to 3 funerals in 3 weeks. And I've told the story before, but it really hit home because it was a great start to the year, 3 funerals in 3 weeks. And as bad as it is to lose someone, we have a ceremony, we celebrate their life, we have some drinks, we have some eats, and most of us, unless it's our direct family, go back to normal. We go back to normal. And we might check in with the person every now and again, make sure they're going okay, but we go back to normal. That family, the direct family, go home, and then the reality really checks, and they have to pick up the pieces. But who is really impacted if I die tomorrow? Who's really impacted? Maybe my wife. 2 of my kids are adults, so yeah, they might be sad, hopefully. Might say good riddance, I don't know. But they'll be impacted a little bit. I've left some money, so my younger son will finish school and he'll be okay. In the bigger scheme of things, yeah, a bit of tears, hopefully, but that's about it. What happens when your business dies? Or any business dies? What's the impact of that? And if any of you have ever been close to anybody that's lost their job, been retrenched, lost their business, you realize that impact. And it has ripple effects a lot broader than you. So I know today, sitting here, you see the tiger somewhere inside. You have to look deep to find it again. Because that's why you started the business. That's why you're here in the room. Because there's this tiger, there's this bigger dream, there's this something that I want that's more than I've got, and more that I feel that I am today. Good. Then you must see it and reconnect with it so you can move to it. And then you commit by not listening to other people. I never got this when I was young, because my grandfather died when I was very young. But he always used to say, believe nothing you hear and only half of what you see. And I thought, that's weird, because, yeah, I get the hearing part, but surely if I see it, it must be true. No. We see it from different angles. We see it from different bias. We see it from different perspective. So once you set your direction today, stop listening to other people. Stop looking left and right. Stop the talking, start the doing. Because then you will stay on track. It's when we're looking all over the place, listening to everybody, second-guessing ourselves, that we get distracted. Set that course and stick to it. And set, and you will do that through your workbook, small, medium, large, short, medium, long term. Focus. Because the long term I'm not going to do now, but it gives me direction. The medium term is so that I know where there's a reasonable point that I can check in if I'm okay, and then I'm going to focus on the now. And if I put enough of these nows together, enough of the short term together, enough of the quarters together, then the medium term and long term sort themselves out. So don't skip through the 5 to 10 year, the 3 year, the 1 year so quickly. Do it properly to have that view. Because sometimes we overestimate what we can do in the next quarter, but we underestimate what's really possible in 5 to 10 years from now. Where were you 10 years ago? Where was the world 10 years ago? Often in a very different place to where you are today. For me, I set goals around 5 categories, and with our team of coaches, we introduced this year the Big 5 and the Little 5. The Big 5 is your annual goal. And there is actually an official Little 5 in the bush that you can go find. Some people know it, some people don't. But the Little 5 is the quarterly focuses of that. And for me, the sequence of those from top to bottom is the most important. If I don't have health, I have nothing. And we all think, oh, we'll get to it. So yes, it was nice of her to say 64 is the magic year, Yeah, if you can swim 110 miles, then 64 is the magic year for you. Most of you looking around the room wouldn't swim 50 meters. So then your health is not going to be the 64 best years of your life. So we have to focus on health first. You have to prioritize. We then have to build wealth. Now, wealth can be arranged of different things. Wealth of relationship, wealth of experience, wealth of family, but it is also wealth, because you need wealth to pay for things. So we need to prioritize that. And then I build a business so that I can benefit. I build a business so that I can chase my dreams and provide for my family and do things that I want to do. Then I know what's the business that I must build to support that. I can't want to run Comrades and have a business where I'm working 16 hours a day, because I will die. The second big hill, the heart will go, cheers, you haven't trained enough, I'm out of here. I need time to train. Well, then if that's the personal goal, then the business must support that. Otherwise, I'm not going to do that. And all of us, by mere fact that you're sitting in the room, are better off than billions, not millions, billions of people in the world. So there might be a few million ahead of you. There might be even tens of millions ahead of you. There are billions wanting what you have. And therefore, the more I grow, the overflow goes into supporting other people. And I think we as South Africans do that generally well, but I think we can do a lot more on the contribution front. So a good exercise to do with your team, for yourself and your team, and that will help with some of your team issues, is what we call the PIP exercise. So the theory says potential is unlimited, right? Supposedly, potential is unlimited. And sadly, we all know people without a leg or in a wheelchair or with a terrible childhood that have done well. So the potential is there. So if my performance isn't matching that, how do I get to realize my potential? And it's simply your interferences. So this is a great exercise for yourself and your team. Let's jot down what the interferences are. Are they actual interferences? Are they perceived interferences? Are they external interferences? Are they internal interferences? Do I not have transport? Do I not have food? Am I stressed? Have I got a sick family member? We all have a range of different interferences. Take the interferences away, reduce them, limit them, potential starts matching performance automatically, because they are like anchors that we carry with us. And you'll be surprised what you think are quite insignificant are major interferences when you do this with your team. And they're relatively simple to solve. So if you take away those interferences, you'll automatically get increased performance. So definitely worth doing for yourself and your team. Right. The next thing is we sit here today and we go, this is brilliant. Got some great goals, and I'm going to launch myself to this rocket ship, and then I'm just going to go one way up. It's just going to be all plain sailing, and it's going to be success. I've got a coach. This should be easy, right? No. The reality is anything goes in waves. It has patches where it's easy, and then it has patches where it's not. It has patches where it goes up very substantially and patches where less. And sometimes even a bit down, and we regroup, and then we rebuild. That's the natural evolution of growth. It doesn't mean I'm worse off. It means I've just grown to a level where I'm now putting in a new foundation. That's all. So, options for you in your business. The first thing is you need to have your business be a milking machine. And you need to milk it for every cent available. For you. I'm not telling you how many cents that is that you have to milk for. You decide. And how do you do that? Well, there's your milking catalysts. They're standing over there. You help them milk this business for as much money as you can so that you can grow, so you can achieve your goals, so that you can invest in property and shares and all the rest of it. That's what it's there for. It's a vehicle. You need to milk this vehicle as much as possible. The other thing is, you've seen this before, hopefully. The 5 ways. You might not have seen it in that form. You might have seen it in this form. Some of you came to a workshop that these wonderful gentlemen did, and they put this up and they said, geez, can you imagine if you got a 10% increase in each of those 5 ways? And if you did that, you'll have 61% more profit. Who made 61% more profit this year? One person. Two people. Three people. The rest of you, shame on you. There's the recipe. But you and your coaches were so distracted with all the other stuff, most of which that wasn't important, felt important, that you didn't get to what is important. Milking the machine. That's how you. That'd be pretty cool. And you can do that every year for the rest of your life. The only one that gets harder over time is margins. Probably 5-6 years, margins are easy to increase by 10% every year. Price increases, cost savings, bulk deals, there's lots of ways to do it. That gets harder after about the 6th year, to do 10% every year. The rest, you can do 10% for the rest of your life. So worst case, you're going to have 46% turnover increase forever, and at least the next 5 years of 61% more profit. Anybody excited about that? Not everybody. Okay, we're excited about that. Good, that's how you milk the machine. The other thing you do is you build your business for sale. So I milk the machine to pay the bills. My salary included, market-related salary. I build the vehicle for sale. So that somebody would want to buy it one day. Because then whilst I've made salary and I get return on investment, I get paid a third time for my business. Did you know that? When you sell it, your business should always pay you 3 times. Salary, profits, and exit. Now, even if you give it to your children, you can pay for it. I'm giving it to you, but you're going to pay for it. Thank you very much. They're not that wise. They don't quite catch up. Sorry, Neil, you mustn't listen to this. Don't give him the business. Give it to him for millions, and he can pay it back.
Already signed.
Wonderful. Good, good. Because then you get paid the third time. How do you build it for sale? Bert showed it earlier on. We have the 6 steps. The questionnaire of death is in your book, where it says, is this in place? Yes or no? And does it need to go into the next quarter? It is supposed to depress you. But you don't have to do all of it in the next 90 days. You only have to pick the ones that are relevant for you for now, for the next 90 days. And slowly but surely we embed the principles that have the business ready for sale. And then I get paid a third time. Finally, my children get to pay me back after years of suffering. How cool is that? Before they got into the business and whilst they're in the business. Must get extra suffering money from them. But that's the recipe. So those are the recipes to milk it. But here's the challenge for today. Most of us come here, and some of us have been here a few years, multiple growth clubs. Some of us have come, left, come back again. And miraculously, we think if we go do the same thing tomorrow, we're going to get different results. So Einstein very famously said, the height of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. And we've tried it. Who's married in the room? Okay. How many times have you tried this with your spouse? The same thing over and over, expecting a different result? Doesn't work. You have to do something different to get a different result. You will never get a different result with the same things that you've done to create the problem in the first place. So if you're going to go put down the same goals you've put down before or the same strategies, then best you figure out how you're going to do it differently to get there. Because if you're thinking the same goal, the same recipe, the same stuff, we're just going to work harder, it won't work. And it won't work because of this. This little part of the back of our brain, called our subconscious, is designed to keep us alive. That's its only function, is expend as little energy as possible to keep this person alive. So you're sitting here going, okay, didn't make budget last year, had a tough year, worked hard, didn't make enough money, and I'm setting all these lofty goals, and my subconscious, without talking loudly, is going, this man is insane. He didn't do this last year, working his ass off. How is he thinking he's going to do this year? So let me rather just have him procrastinate a little bit, get distracted a lot, go into wheel spin and overwhelm mode, because then at least he'll stay alive. Because if he wants to do double what he's did last year, My knowledge of what he did says, this is never going to work, he's going to die, I'll keep him safe. And then that's why we procrastinate. That's why we go round and round in circles. Our body's protecting us from killing ourselves. No, I have to do something different to get that result. And then my favorite is when we talk about get out of our comfort zone. It's a favorite thing to say to our staff. It's the favorite thing to say to our teenage children. It's the least favorite thing to do to ourselves. Because we like being in our comfort zone. And then we'll step out of our comfort zone momentarily and we go, ha, tss, I like that, I'm going to use that, thanks Peter. Look how look I am. And the minute we get the opportunity, we step back into the comfort zone. Oh no, this feels better. This feels warm and fuzzy. Okay, let me step out my comfort zone a little bit momentarily. Tss, let me go back. And then eventually we don't even do that anymore. Your growth, your perfect business, your perfect life lives outside of where you are today. Like it or not, that's it. And sadly, as adults, we get to that point where we think we've arrived, we want it to be easier. No, we still have to grow. We wouldn't allow our kids to spend 10 years in matric, would we? Definitely not. Even some of them are trying to do 10 years in varsity, and that's also not acceptable. So we must stop doing it in our lives and our business at the same time. So we've called bullshit on time. How do you fix time? You diarize things. If it's in the diary, it's going to happen. If it's not in the diary, it doesn't happen. That's how you fix time, bullshit. It's because I haven't got health in my diary, that's why I don't do it. I haven't got date night with my wife in my diary, that's why I don't do it. I haven't got to take my kids away for a weekend in my diary, that's why I don't do it. I haven't got a book to read in my diary, I'll fit it in between. No, you won't. You'll do what's in your diary. So put what's important in your diary. Time problem solved. It's not about the money. Yes, it is about the money. And you decide to pay yourself what you're worth and you make a return on investment. You are the shareholder, you need to get return. You wouldn't give a financial institution the money and not expect a return, so best to start getting a return. You have to drive both. But you have to budget for it. If you don't budget for it, it doesn't happen. If I budget for it, it happens. And if I have to make money, I will. But if I don't have to, I won't. So when I had my first child, could I afford nappies, baby formula, all these things? No. Made a plan. In our genius, we thought to have a second child. I couldn't afford the first one. What was I thinking? New nappies, more expensive nappies. Made a plan. And then if you're really stupid, you have a third child like we did. Didn't have the money for the first two. If I have to make the money, if I have to make a plan, I will. The problem is you're not prioritizing making the money and paying yourself, therefore you don't. You put it in the budget. Pretty simple. How do we get the team right? Very simple. You start at number one and you work your way down. It's your team. If you don't like it, then look in the mirror. You are the leader of that team. So get a better team, get the team better, get you better, do what you need to do, find a way. It's your team. And then you start working through the rest. If the team don't know what they're doing and why they're doing it, they're not going to do it. And then how do they do it and how do we interact and all the rest of it. So there's 6 keys to the winning team. You start at the top, you work your way down in designing it, and then you manage it from the bottom up. Then it becomes simple. Then the team actually does work. And then we choose every day, not once a quarter, not once a month, not once a week. Every day I choose which side of that roller coaster I want to be. Because it will have ups and it will have downs. And some of the ups will scare me and some of the ups will be lekker. And vice versa. Depends on the moment, depends on the day, depends on the situation. I get to choose how I respond to things. Nobody else. So you choose which one you want to be. And then please, 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 please stop waiting. Especially this year. Oh, let's wait and see what happens in the elections. We already found out, we don't have to wait. Oh, let's just wait. No. Our business is called Action Coach for a reason. Not maybe one day coach. Not maybe tomorrow coach. Not when I find the energy or the passion or the discipline coach. Not when they get rid of Jacob, coach, because that was an excuse for many years, and then they got rid of Jacob, and it's not much better with old Cyril. And even if they get rid of Cyril tomorrow, not going to be much better either. It's the actions we take that's important. That's why it's called Action Coach. Daily, weekly, monthly actions to roll up to my quarterly plan, which is why we're here today. And then it was said earlier in the talk too, life is a journey. It doesn't matter where that dog's going, he's enjoying it. So at least if I set the direction, I know where I'm going, then I can enjoy it even more. Because you, sadly, and your staff spend more time at work than they do with their loved ones. We could say that's sad. For me, that's just how it is. You have to work. Not just for the money, you have to work to contribute. We're wired as human beings to contribute. So we're going to do that more than we're going to spend with our loved one. Good, then we might as well enjoy the journey. We might as well make it fun. We might as well talk about the things that supposedly you don't talk about. So I am the worst person to bring anywhere. Sex, politics, religion, awesome to talk about. We're going to do some exercises with the team. We got the team together, the coaching team on Friday. They're going to hate me just like some of you have hated me today. Because if we don't talk about it, how are we going to solve it? It's for the fact that we don't talk about things that mean that we don't enjoy the journey. And please, with your coach in particular, be honest. That's the one place that you can be yourself, is be honest. Because who are you being honest with as a business owner anywhere else? Your spouse? Good luck. See how that works for you. But here is the thing, and Bert alluded to it early on. We live truly in the most amazing place in the world, and it's easy for me to say because I do travel internationally. I have a brother that lives in London and has been there for 25 years. A brother that is an American citizen that lives in America. I got 2 children in America, and my 21-year-old son was here in December, and he said, and he works on super yachts. So Monaco, Caribbean, Bahamas, Croatia, billionaires all around, and he says, this is the best place in the world. And every tourist that comes here says the same thing. But it's because we don't believe it, we don't see it, we don't do anything about it. The only people that can make this better are the people in the room. Business owners, entrepreneurs. No government is ever going to fix this. They haven't got enough money. They can take away all corruption, all of it. Now, there's no government in the world that's ever got that right, including Japan and Switzerland. But let's say they take away all corruption. The budget won't break even still. We'll still be at a deficit. We spend 1,200 Rand per child per month on education. That's all we spend. That's our biggest budget item. What can you get for 1,200 Rand? We spend 461 Rand per person on medical. Good luck, NHI. That's what we spend. It's the 3rd biggest item after the 2nd biggest, which is interest. For every 5 Rand spent, 1 is interest in South Africa. We don't have the money. So we need to make the money. And today, enough of the BS. The reality check. And then the next session will be more inspirational. This looks a bit depressing if I look around. Because then we'll build from that. And by the end of today, you'll be feeling a lot better. There'll be a lot more smiling. And we will reward you with your smile for a beer or a glass of wine. Any questions? I'm a little bit over time. Any questions or comments? Wonderful. I will be here all day. If you need to ask or talk, just shout. You want to ask them?
The 6th point on the slide, what was it?
The 6th point. On the team one. 100% inclusion or involvement. Because we all do this as South Africans. You know, we're really very positive, patriotic South Africans. We drive down the road, and eventually they're fixing the pothole that's been there for 10 years. They're fixing it with half bricks, so we know it's going to be a cock job. But there's 1 person working and 5 people standing around, supervising. and then you give me the shovel and I do my bit for 2 minutes while everybody else works. That's not 100% inclusion involvement. And we love to talk about people next to the road when we see that it happens in our business too. If everybody isn't actively involved, actively participating, we've got dead weight. And that's part of why your strategy is working with the commission. No, we brought everybody together. We're now in this together. We sink or swim together. That's what that is.